Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Underground Video Network's Behind the Counter. This is our special San Diego Comic-Con recap show, so stay tuned. Hey everyone, and welcome to Behind the Counter. This is Mike.
I'm Richard.
And if you're like most of us, and let's face it, pretty much most of the world, you didn't get a chance to go to San Diego Comic-Con this year.
Only a few thousand.
Yeah. But luckily, as you know, with every year, all the information just came pouring out, and there was so much great content that came out this year. It's hard to even get a grasp
Hall
on it.
H was on fire.
Oh yeah. And I think some of the biggest news came with no shock came from Marvel and everything that they have planned for the next at least couple years.
4 years, I think.
Yeah.
They're out. Yeah.
Some of the big announcements were the services or some of the shows and content that are going to be available on the new Disney Plus.
Right. That's part of the Phase 4 project.
Holy smokes. I mean, everybody had heard, whispers and seen some of the stuff.
I know he's really excited about one of them, probably.
Oh, there's a few of them I'm really excited about. I think one of the ones I'm honestly most excited about was the announcement of the animated series What If.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, because, man, I'm a What If fan from back in the early 80s. I loved those books. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, What If was a line of comic books that took established stories and put a
spin on it.
A spin on it.
Yeah.
And actually, that's where most people's introduction to The Watcher came from.
Some, yeah.
Because The Watchers, we know, were...
They were telling the tales.
Yeah, and they were like, here's what would happen if this would have happened,
Right.
And it's amazing to see...
And some of them became canon, too.
Some of them became canon, which will segue into one of our later announcements from San Diego, but there was a lot of things that were already kind of leaked out that they have planned for the What Ifs, and I completely understand why they're going to go animated on this, because to try to have done it live action would have been a blockbuster feat in and of itself.
Yeah, because it's going to be a different story every week.
Mm-hmm. But they did announce that they are going to get as many of the actors for the voice roles as possible. And a couple that, the main one that I'm looking forward to, one of the ones that they first announced was the story of what if Peggy Carter had become the super soldier, had become Captain America. And it's already, been announced that Haley Atwell will reprise her role.
Yeah.
And if you know me, I have a lot of cosplay friends, and they are all dying to see, good pictures. It's like, finally I get to be Peggy Carter,
As Captain America.
Oh, they've I believe it was the Championship of Heroes, the one online game, or the one mobile game that already kind of, put out there and teased it. Another one a friend of mine had mentioned to me, it was like a really small kind of blip, but it was Zombie Cap.
Oh.
So we're going to get to see...
Yeah, because I think even in the books they're bringing the zombies back.
Mm-hmm.
DC did it, so now they have to do it again.
Right.
Sorry,
but
off topic.
But just the idea of how much, how big the treasure trove of stories that they're going to have doing What If is going to be astronomical.
They can go anywhere. They can come up with new stuff too.
Exactly. And I know the other one I'm looking forward to, Rich, but is there any particular one that you're really excited about?
I want to see what they're going to do with this WandaVision.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard different rumors before San Diego about it, and then that hit, and it's like, whoa, and then don't want to go off into the movies. Wanda goes into Doctor Strange, so
yeah,
it's like she's going to become a full sorceress, since Doctor Strange is going to be a horror movie.
That was some major exciting news that they were going to go full-on horror, because it was kind of like, well, New Mutants didn't pan out. Everybody's kind of excited for horror. What's the most logical step? And we'll have it, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of learned, from a certain few other properties that, we can make comic book movies for adults.
Yeah.
And still bring in a buttload of money.
Deadpool.
Yeah. The other one that I am really most excited for, of course, is Hawkeye. Jeremy Renner's been doing a lot of tweets about it. You know, he's looking forward to it. The story of Clint Barton and Kate Bishop
Right.
has been one of my favorite comics for a while. Kate Bishop is a great character. I love her. I love her style. I love the interaction between the two of them. The mentor and the protege. You know, and very curious to see how they're going to do that in the Marvel universe. Because in the Marvel universe, Clint doesn't have kids, and you know he doesn't have a family.
Right.
And everybody was kind of thinking after was it Age of Ultron that, you know, when we found his kids, that he had kids.
Right.
And even that little teaser in Endgame with
yeah.
his daughter, it's like, is this how it's going to pan out? But they're saying it is Kate Bishop, so it's very possible it'll just be.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we don't know from like any, you know, a lot of them is the time frame.
Yeah. All the series takes place in different time frames.
Yes.
So
the idea that maybe this story of Hawkeye and Kate Bishop takes place, you know, just after the snap, but before the return, because that's 5 years.
Right.
You know,
and those stories need to be told.
Those stories need to be told, and it might be one of those situations where if Hawkeye knew he was going to go down the dark path, he still wanted a Hawkeye.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, it's just like the Loki series. Supposedly that takes place like instantly after inside the movie itself.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And I heard too, I'd seen production stills, you know, not actual photos from the show, but from like set photos, where there was one where the background characters and the scenery had a definite 70s vibe to it. So there's also talk too that it's going to be kind of maybe a time jumping sort
Who
of.
knows?
Yeah.
They're going everywhere, and I'm hoping maybe even Hawkeye could be a backdoor in project for West Coast Avengers.
That would be great, yeah, because Kate Bishop was one of the predominant members in the later West Coast Avengers. The other talk too is this could be the introduction to the younger characters,
Champions or something.
Champions, you know, we've seen Casey Lang.
Right.
You know, when she was younger, you know, she told her dad she wanted to be a superhero like him.
And she didn't snap, so.
And she didn't snap. We've seen, you know, her grow up probably a little bit too much, but that's, you know, like 5 years and she went from 12 to 24. What happened there? So much more.
It's the particles, man.
Yeah. That was the one thing I was a little disappointed at for all the announcements of. It's like, look, I understand there's no Cap. I understand there's no Iron Man. You know, it's like we couldn't have thrown another Ant-Man movie into the. You know, they're still around.
Phase 5.
Yeah. The other news that I'd heard that was really great was it came from Kevin Feige that we are not done seeing the Avengers.
Right.
It's going to be a totally different team than what we've seen, but we are not done with the Avengers.
Right.
So I have a feeling the next few years will be as intelligently done as the first 10 years, building everything up slowly.
Well, I love to see the Avengers in the background of some of the movies. That they still exist, but not necessarily, you know, as a key team, but like pieces, you know.
Right.
Like you have this Avenger, you know, like they would all be like back in the 40s with the Justice Society of America. They would meet at the first arc, then they would have individual stories,
Branch
and
off.
then at the end they would all team up to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there's probably background stories going to be laid out. Maybe.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Another one I'm really looking forward to is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah.
My hopes are up so high for this because I loved the chemistry between the two of them. If they do anything shy of a reluctant buddy cop movie type situation, I will be upset because the two of them together, you know, it was just
Right.
like Hardcastle McCormick, and you know, just like I don't like you, but we work well together.
And Baron Zemo.
Yeah, yeah, that was the announcement. Is that they had definitely not seen the last of Baron Zemo, and I'm very.
Hopefully that's what they already announced as main villain. So.
Yeah. Anything else from the Marvel panel you can think of?
Thor.
Yeah, Thor. That was what really blew me away because when they showed the panel, you know, we saw Natalie Portman there.
Right.
which made sense. You know, it's like, oh, it's great to see her Jane Foster, coming back, and then to see her pick up Mjolnir, it was just like,
she's worthy.
oh man,
Hey, it's what it is.
Oh, again, it's one of those situations where I've got cosplay friends or just already got the sketchbooks out, like, drop that picture, I'm going to be right there,
But like I was saying earlier, I'm a little disappointed with Marvel right now for making her Valkyrie. It seems like they're going a whole other direction.
In the comic
In the
books.
comics, yeah. Mm-hmm. But in the movies, now she's going to be Thor like it was in the comics. So now the comics are going to have to either backtrack or go in a different direction in another year to catch up with the MCU. It's a marketing nightmare, probably. Probably the Marvel, the comic guys didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
It was probably miscommunication between the two universes.
And it'll be really interesting to see how it plays with Thor, who been talked about that he's still chilling with the Guardians,
right?
So how's all that going to play into it? And
especially after they announced that Guardians 3 will happen, but not in Phase 4.
Yeah.
So it's out further, probably Phase 5 or whatever.
Yeah. But it was a nice announcement too with the announcement of the Thor movie that Thor will be the first franchise in the Marvel universe to hit the 4 movie mark.
Yeah.
Which is great. But it could it also be like we said, I hate to say it's like a changing of the guards and an out with the old in with the new, but it's a Thor movie, but
is it really rewriting number 1?
They didn't technically say it was a Chris Hemsworth Thor movie. It could be a jumping point for her to take over the mantle.
Right.
And, let him...
And then have the new Valkyrie part of it. I know she's already on board for that, so...
Yeah.
So, who knows?
And that's a great thing about seeing everything that comes down from San Diego is not only the announcements of what is coming, but the possibilities of what will be coming.
Right.
Rich, was there anything else... Marvel-wise that came out from San Diego?
In the comic world right now, it's hitting is the new X-Men series.
Yes.
They're totally starting all over again. So, it's a good point to jump on. If you are a fan of the X-Men, the first issue was really good that just came out this week.
And that's great. This is a great segue. This is another great reason why when you go to your local comic book store to talk to the people that work there, talk to the owner. We are here at Alter Ego Comic Books in Lima, Ohio, and as I was checking out yesterday, I had a discussion with Mark Halker, the owner of Alter Ego. He was mentioning that book, and I used to be an X-Man. I used to love those books, but it got so... They were all over the place.
Right.
It even like monetarily, it was impossible to keep up. And
X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, X-Men Black, X-Men everything.
New X-Men, Excalibur, X-Blah, I was just like...
Extreme.
I'm done. I'm out. And over the past few years, I've picked up an X-Men book here and there, flipped through it, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
Right.
So I gave up. And Mark said, he goes, this is the comic book that is for people like you. It's for people who probably read X-Men for a long time, got turned off by it. He goes, this is a great jumping point. So that is definitely one. If you're out there watching, you should give that one a try.
And for the immediate future, there's only going to be 2 books.
I can afford that.
I mean, you'll still have like Deadpools and Wolverines and all that stuff,
of
but
course.
You can't not get rid of that.
Streamline it. Take what took people away from your books, condense it down, and we've talked about this throughout all of comic book history. It doesn't matter, DC, Marvel, Image, whatever. I would rather have 2 quality books a month than a dozen hit and miss books.
Yeah, because this just seemed like they flooded the X there for a while.
Oh yeah,
that was an understatement.
That was it was literally every like if you went to your comic book store and they put everything alphabetically, it was just like Action, Batman, Spider-Man, X-Men. It was just like, I'm out. I can't. And it got to the point too where it's just like, well, what's going on in this book? Well, you got to read this book.
Oh yeah, it was so tied together, but not tied together.
Yeah, it's like one key piece of information that you needed in the book that you were reading was only found in this one book that Nobody was reading. So it's great to see that they've learned a lesson and are starting to streamline a little bit.
For the immediate future.
For the immediate future, yeah.
Because they do own the rights for the movies now.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with that. So, if there was anything from San Diego Comic-Con in regards to the Marvel panel that really struck your fancy that we may not have mentioned, please write us, contact us, comment, like all that. Let us know what you really got turned on to. Richard, could you please tell them where they can find all that information?
The main website is undergroundvideonetwork.com. You can find all our social links there. And as Mike said, please share and like.